Somebody, it's SaiyanSalamander here, and welcome to my latest edition of Super Jump Stars. If you're wondering what the hell this is, then you probably haven't seen my last video, so let me explain it for you just in case. When Smash Bros was originally created, it was called Dragon King the Fighters, and later Sakurai decided to add Nintendo characters into the game to make it the playable roster. But what if he decided to add characters from Shonen Jump instead? I've already made a video talking about who I think would have been added into the Jump version of Smash 64, so now I'm going to go through Super Jump Stars Melee's roster, and talk about the 14 newcomers that they'll add into the series. So if you want to see my 64 roster, then go check it out before or after you finish this video. So back when I made my Jump 64 video, I replaced the Mario series with a Dragon Ball series. So in 64, Mario and Luigi were replaced with 2 Dragon Ball characters, who I'll let you watch the video to find out who they were. And the first Dragon Ball character I want to talk about this time around, who will be placing Peach, is Piccolo. Piccolo would be a really unique fighter compared to the other Dragon Ball characters. He's a martial artist with a bunch of energy attacks like the others, but there's some other cool mechanics and moves that his character has too. The Mechians like Piccolo have the ability to stretch their limbs out, which would give Piccolo a lot more range with his attacks. And they can regenerate from their wounds too. So I'm thinking maybe Piccolo could have the ability to slowly heal if they haven't engaged in combat within a certain period of time. But if Piccolo makes contact with an enemy or the foe hits them back, then Piccolo will have to wait a little while before healing again. I could see them using Demon Hand for their grab and up special, Special Beam Cannon for their neutral special, maybe Light Grenade for their side special, and finally Evil Containment Wave for their down special. While they don't have them yet in Melee, I'm thinking Piccolo would get the Hellzone Grenade for his final smash in the next Smash Bros. Game. And it would work really well visually, and I could see it work as an amazing cinematic final smash. I'll be adding another Dragon Ball character to the list, as I figured since the Mario franchise added Bowser in Smash Melee, that Jump Melee would add one of Dragon Ball's main antagonists, Emperor Frieza. I felt like it would use the most energy attacks of all the Dragon Ball characters so far, and use them for his special, smashes, and maybe even some of his regular and aerial attacks too. He could have a cool transformation gimmick and transform between different forms, basically like Dragon Ball's equivalent of a Pokemon trainer. I'm thinking he could switch between first form, second form, and his final form, with Golden Frieza probably being added to his final smash in Smash Ultimate, since Resurrection F didn't come out till 2015. Maybe the first form would be the weakest, but be tricky to deal with and having a unique moveset. Second form would be slower, but would focus on more heavy, strong physical attacks, while the final form would have a lot of energy attack like its first form, but feel a lot more balanced. Frieza has a lot of potential for special moves, with Frieza's Ki Blast like Death Ray, Death Saucer, Death Cannon, and Death Ball, with Death Ball being his final smash in the next game and Smash 4 until Golden Frieza comes along. So in the original Smash Melee, there weren't too many new series that got added into the game, and instead it mainly built up the roster of characters from franchises that were already included. There were 3 new series included into Smash Melee, which were Fire Emblem, Ice Climbers, and Mr. Game & Watch, so I decided to only include 3 new series in Jump Melee too. So let's talk about the first of those new series that were added, which was the Dragon Quest series. Now you may be wondering, wait, Dragon Quest? That's a game, right? A gaming series already represented in Smash. Why is Dragon Quest in the Jump version of Smash as well? And the reason for that is Shonen Jump released a manga for Dragon Quest called The Adventures of Dai, which has actually recently had an anime reboot by Toei recently, and it's pretty decent. Dai showed up in Jump Force as a playable character, so I figured if he can make it into a modern day J-Stars game, he would probably be a playable character in this alternate universe Jump version of Smash as well. He'd probably mainly fight with his sword, using attacks like Earth Slash, Air Slash, Wave Slash, and finally Aven Strash for his final smash when it comes to Brawl onwards. But he also has some magic and his Draconic Crest in his arsenal as well, making him for a pretty well-rounded character. One of the biggest series to ever grace the pages of Shonen Jump has gotta be Naruto. After all, it's still known as one of the big 3, and holds that title with One Piece and Bleach too. Unfortunately, no Naruto character made it into Jump 64, since in this universe Super Jump Stars 64 came out a little bit too early for Naruto to be considered, but thankfully Naruto can finally have his time to shine this time around. Unfortunately, Bleach is going to have to wait a little while longer before it gets any rep, since it's a little bit too new of a series back when Melee would have been released. Sorry Ichigo, maybe next time. Like Ichigo, as well as Naruto and Luffy, who I spoke about in my Jump 64 video, Naruto appeared as a playable character in Super Smash Flash 2, which is a fan-made game of Smash which includes many series veterans and a bunch of characters who have still yet to make an appearance even in Ultimate. I love how it includes a few anime characters because I love seeing how characters who would never normally make it into Smash will work, especially when I can physically play those characters in a fan game like Smash Flash 2. The majority of his moveset has him attacking with his kunai or using shadow clones for his special moves and grabs. He did have Rasengan and Rasen Shuriken originally for his neutral special, and I think he would eventually get those moves added to his moveset in the later games. But Naruto first used the Rasengan in 2003, so it would be a bit too early for him to use it in Jump Melee. Smash Flash 2 Naruto is a pretty fast, fairly balanced character that thrives in a lot of different playstyles, and I think his Smash Flash 2 moveset could basically just transfer over, aside from the Rasengan and Rasen Shuriken neutral special, which, like I mentioned before, he wouldn't have had access to at the time, though he would gain that neutral special in a later installment of Jump Stars. For now though, I think he'd use a Toad summoning technique, which would probably just summon a Toad to grab the enemy and bring them towards Naruto so he can start comboing on them. I think this could maybe change to his down special in later games, or he could keep his current down special that he uses in Smash Flash 2. But I think the Toad grab mechanic might end up being the more interesting move to keep out of the two. I'm nowhere near done with adding Naruto characters into the series, as in Jump Melee I'm replacing the Zelda series with it, which means that the Naruto series is going to be getting 4 brand new reps in its very first entry into the series. And my next pick is of course Naruto's friend and rival, Sasuke Uchiha. I feel like Sasuke will change drastically as a character as the Jump Stars franchise goes on. To start with, he'll probably mainly use taijutsu to attack, throwing precise kunai and moves like his Line Barrage for one of his grabs. As for his specials, I can see him using Shadow Shurikens for his neutral special, maybe a counter using his Sharingan for his down special, Fireball Jutsu for his side special, and finally maybe a sort of substitution jutsu for his up special. And then as the franchise continues, Sasuke will swap his taijutsu skills for his swordplay that he uses after the time skip, Shadow Shurikens for his Chidori, Fireball Jutsu will become Amaterasu, and his counter will change into his Susanoo, with his up special being a teleporting skill using his Renegon. I hope that they change him over time to adapt to his time skip moveset instead of pulling a Zelda and making multiple versions of Naruto and Sasuke, kinda like how they made the 3 Links in Smash. I think Sasuke would be a pretty quick character in movement and startup time, though he probably wouldn't deal too much damage and be fairly easy to launch off the stage, especially before the time skip because he'd probably be a bit heavy afterwards after switching to his older version. Now I did mention that there was going to be 2 more Naruto characters added into this game, however we're going to take a break from the series and talk about some other characters for a moment instead. So up on the roster is another Dragon Ball character replacing Dr. Mario, which is Teen Gohan from the Cell Saga. So I didn't want to pull a Fighters here and add like Super Saiyan 4 Goku or something, since while it's a cool form, there are a ton of Dragon Ball characters to choose from. And since the series won't get anywhere near the reps it had in Dragon Ball exclusive fighting game, I thought I'd branch out a bit. I think Teen Gohan would basically be a quicker Goku, using fast, weaker attacks that can probably combo a little bit easier, and have a Masenko for his neutral special, 5-hit combo for his side special, Super Dragon Flight for his up special, and finally a counter for his down special. And then when Jump Brawl comes out, he'd definitely have to use his father-son Kamehameha finisher that he used against Cell as his final smash. It's just such an iconic move, and I can't see Teen Gohan being without it. Joke characters have always been a thing in fighting games, from characters like Piranha Plant in Smash Ultimate to the infamous Kuma Bear in the Tekken series. Melee was no exception, as it was the game that Pichu debuted in. In the Jump version of Smash, I replaced the Pokemon series with One Piece, so I thought it'd be pretty funny having Chopper as the joke character in Melee. Since while Chopper is a member of the Straw Hats, he's never usually considered for games like this due to how incredible the list of characters One Piece has to offer is. I could see Chopper running around almost like a villager, tripping over and dropping things, or just attacking with random medical equipment. And for his smash attacks, special moves, and maybe a few other attacks, he could change into different points, like Jump Point, Heavy Point, and his human form. I think Chopper suits the more comedic fighter well, but also has a really interesting moveset that helps him stand out from other fighters in the series. While Gon's been introduced to a bunch of new people since joining Jump Stars, he's still feeling pretty lonely, so let's give him some company by adding another Hunter x Hunter rep. So the next character on the list is Gon's best friend, KILLUA. I think the best way I can explain how KILLUA would work in Smash, it would be like if Ness was faster and the only SANJI he used was close range. Like Ness, KILLUA wields a pair of yo-yos to attack, but doesn't have as much variety of SANJI attacks like Ness. Instead, KILLUA uses Nen, which he's able to transmute into lightning energy. For those that haven't watched Hunter x Hunter, Nen is basically their equivalent of Ki, Chakra, or SANJI in a way. I'm thinking KILLUA could have a gimmick where pressing a certain button will imbue electricity into his moves, which will make them stronger, or you could use Godspeed to rapidly increase your movement speed and decrease startup lag, making it way easier to string combos, but it would run out fairly quickly when stringing combos like that, so you'd have to use down B to recharge again. I think it suits his character well since KILLUA doesn't know how much electricity he's outputting, and will suddenly run out of power when he's overusing it. So I think if you overuse it and continuously use Godspeed, it will run out within a few seconds, but if you only use it when you need it, you'd get a decent amount of strikes out of it. Part of his gimmick would also involve other characters' electric type attacks charging his own electricity up a bit. He still feels the pain from electricity, though it doesn't phase him, so I'm thinking he'll still take damage from a foe's attack, but his electrical charge will increase when he's hit by the same attribute of attack, and he'd probably take some minor damage from charging up with his down special too. In my Jump 64 video, I couldn't originally settle on whether or not I should add a City Hunter rep or a JoJo's Bizarre Adventure rep, so I decided to go with the protagonist of City Hunter, Ryo Saber, for Jump 64, mainly due to the probable console limitations of trying to run both Jotaro and his stand, Star Platinum. Though Melee can run two characters at once with Ice Climbers, so it should be powerful enough to run Jotaro in his stand. If you haven't watched or read JoJo before, then basically stands are sort of like the abilities characters have in that world, and it's a personification of their fighting spirit. They come up with different abilities and are usually like humanoid spirits that reside next to their user. I'm thinking a special list in Smash could be pretty similar to his Jump Force specials. Stand Rush for his neutral special, My Stand the Judge for his side special, Starfinger as his up special, and finally I'm thinking Star Platinum the World for his down special, which he can use like a counter move. I'm thinking in Jump Brawl his final smash could be the finisher from part 4 of JoJo. Just have him freeze time within a certain radius and he'll fire off a cinematic stand rush against them, and when the time resumes they'll just get launched off the stage. I can see him being a mix of Ganondorf and Captain Falcon, as I think he wouldn't have too much movement speed since I feel like he'd just stylishly walk up to someone and punch them, but there wouldn't be as much startup lags to his attack, since Star Platinum's fast enough to stop a point blank bullet. It's time to get back to where we left things off with the Naruto characters, since like I mentioned earlier, there's still 2 more characters to talk about. Initially I wanted to round off Team 7 and add Sakura as a playable character, especially since there isn't any playable female characters that were introduced in Jump 64 or Melee so far. Problem is that most Shonen Jump series at the time, and still to this day, don't have any female lead, so when introducing a series to the game, the main character is typically going to be a guy. And the problem with Sakura and even Hinata, who I do want to add into the game at some point, is that they don't have much to go off of before the time skip to Naruto Shippuden, sadly. During the game's release, GAARA would have just been introduced as an antagonist to the series, so I think he would be a great choice. Especially because of his sand ninjutsu, since he'd be a really interesting character even before the time skip. And even though now GAARA and Naruto are good friends, at the time in the series he would have been a villain still, so I think he'd be a really cool addition to Jump. I can see him being pretty much hard to launch with his perfect defense, and I can see a lot of his moves being offensive and defensive, being able to launch an attack while blocking the foes at the same time. I don't think he'd be able to jump that high, but his up special would more than make up for his lack of jumping capabilities. He'd probably stand in a cloud of sand and just use it to maneuver around. Maybe the sand from the cloud would fall though as you use it, so when you recover as much as possible, GAARA will lose his footing and either fall off the stage or land back onto it. The final character that will be joining from the Naruto series is Kakashi. Kakashi's known as the copy ninja, so I think he'd be a great way to have a character with Kirby's copy ability in the game. Kakashi's neutral special could have him dodge the opponent's move, and if he's in line of sight of a foe who's using a special move, he'll copy it, and be able to use it until he takes a certain amount of damage or after using a taunt. Problem is, it wouldn't be as obvious as Kirby is when Kakashi's copy someone ability. I was thinking his mask could not cover his eye anymore when he uses it, but he might need some sort of chakra energy around him too, just so it's a bit more noticeable. During Jump Ultimate, I think Kakashi would have Kamui to use for his up special and down special, using the former for movement and the latter as a counter move. As for his side special, Kakashi would use Lightning Cutter. But because Kamui doesn't appear until much later in the manga, I'm thinking he used the water clone jutsu he used against Zabuza for both moves instead. But have the same effect pretty much, and just use different animations. I was thinking he could use his doggo summoning jutsu for his grabs, since when using them against Zabuza, he used them to hold him down. They could bite hard for the pummel and throw him around the stage. Another instance like with Sakura, I was initially considering adding Nami for the second One Piece newcomer in this game, but I felt like she just didn't have enough of a moveset at this point in One Piece's story, so I figured I'd go with a guy who's a little bit easier to make a moveset out of, and that guy is Blackleg Sanji. Sanji is a kicking fiend and always uses extremely powerful kicks in battle, refusing to use his fists so he can keep them in perfect shape so he can cook properly with them. I'm wondering how his grab attacks would work, but other than that, his moveset should be fairly easy to come up with. And he'd just use very fast kicks that would either allow him to combo into another or launch his opponents off the stage. Even before Sanji started using Diable Jambe, which were some really cool flaming kick attacks that Sanji's known for, he had a plethora of techniques that he used in his Blackleg style of fighting. I don't think Diable Jambe would have debuted in the manga yet during the time of Jump Melee, so for now, Sanji can use some of his other attacks, like Collier, Epile, and Mouton Shot. And then later in the Jump series of games, Sanji can upgrade these attacks for a few Diable Jambe attacks. What I think would be a really cool and funny detail is that Sanji refuses to hit girls, so in Jump Force he would deal no damage against any female fighter. There'd probably be a mechanic though where if you play in random, Sanji won't be chosen if a female character is chosen, just so there isn't any accidental matchups where you physically can't win. Speaking of girls, I can finally add a female character to Jump Melee's roster, who's the daughter of Jotaro Kujo, Jolene Kujo. I was originally thinking Dio as a playable character, but I can always add him in another game down the line. But Jolene I feel like would be a much more interesting character to play as. Besides, Stone Ocean would have been the latest JoJo manga at the time, so she would be the perfect pick to represent the current part of the series. Now, I don't know much about Jolene to be honest, since while the manga for JoJo has been around for years, the anime made by David Production only started around in 2012, and Part 6 Stone Ocean is the latest installment to get a new part in the series, which is coming out sometime in December. I don't want to spoil too much by looking into her more, so I won't be going as detailed into the moveset here. What I do know is, like her dad's, her stand can use a lot of close range, fast, powerful attacks, but her stand's other ability lets her unravel her body like string, and is an extremely versatile ability in combat and out, so I'm sure there won't be any issues in trying to design a new moveset for her. Finally, we move on to the character who would definitely be one of my mains for a while, as he's one of my favourite characters from my second favourite series. The last newcomer to join in Jump Melee is Hiei from Yu Yu Hakusho. For his moveset, he'll probably use a mix of martial arts, swordplay, and flame-based attacks, with Sword of the Darkness Flame for his neutral special and up special, Purgatory Scorch for his side special, and finally an afterimage counter attack for his down special. After Super Jumpstar's Brawl gets released, of course he'll use his signature move, Dragon of the Darkness Flame, for his final smash. With how uncontrollable it is, it will fly around the stage until it strikes a target, kind of like Volt Tackle. And if the special trigger is held down long enough, Hiei will absorb the dragon for a brief but massive power up to use against his foes, making him a real tough opponent to deal with. I could see him being like an edgy young Link, but without the utility belt and more beat you up and burn you to ashes kind of character, since he's not that tall and he's pretty fast, so I can see them moving and weighing similarly. That's all for this video, so I hope you enjoyed it, my dudes. If you did, please leave a like, subscribe to see more content from me, and leave a comment down below on who your favourite newcomer was in Super Jump Stars Melee, and which newcomers you'd want to see the most in Super Jump Stars Brawl. I also have a Discord server and a Twitch channel which will be linked in the description, so if you want to hang out more with the community, watch and play Smash Brothers and other games live with me, then defo check out the link to both. Huge thanks again to Jarrett for editing this video, and as always, his Twitter and YouTube will be linked in the description below, so defo go be sure to check him out. Again, thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one, my dudes. Until next time, bye.